On the 30th of September year 12, the Hale Container Limited Company announced that they would be launching next week a new large colony ship. This colony ship would relieve some of the burden upon the council, as it would be able to move some colonists between Earth and Mars. Furthermore, infrastructure was beginning to move between the Earth and Mars, as the freighter task group, the Wayfarer, had moved its 200 across. After it completed its orders, which should be in the next couple of days, it would be shifting across and begin to move first a mass driver and then some mines. Once the mass driver was there, the engineers were given instructions to assign its destination to be Earth. The mass driver would move approximately 5,000 tons of material per year, so further mass drivers might be required in the future. Been a few years since the council had last looked at potential colony sites, so it was at this point that they sat down to identify whether there were other sites that might be of interest to begin mining operations. Rhydmouth was identified as a particularly interesting colony, and indeed the civilians had identified it as well, and had begun setting up a civilian colony upon the little rock. Seeking the most richest supplies, the council was confronted with many options, none of which really ideal. However, a few potential colonies were identified. Rhydmouth in particular, and Faye, another comet in the area, were identified as two particular rich sources of resources that would potentially be priorities when it came to mining collieries. The freight task group was assigned the task of moving 100 mines from Earth to Mars. It would take them some time to do that. Indeed, it was decided that in future, potentially, civilian contracts may be a possibility for moving this infrastructure around. With the one wayfarer, the demands on its time were extreme, to say the least. There were now 5 mass drivers on mines on Earth ready to be dispatched to the various comets. It was decided that indeed it was time to begin using civilian construction and civilian contracts to begin moving some of this stuff around the solar system. So a mass driver was assigned to be sent to Rhinemouth, and also Faye. Fitting in with the long-term plans, another mass driver was assigned to be sent to Mars as well, just to boost their capacity. With the incoming number of mines, it would be ideal if the Mars system could send it back to Earth as quickly as possible. It was at this point that the fledgling Mars colony was getting off the ground that a new governor would be assigned. Ideally someone with a mining bonus. And indeed Anthony Goodwin was potentially the leading candidate in that regard. However, the council did consider all possible applicants. It was decided that Charlotte Nixon would be assigned as the governor of Earth, rather the governor of Mars, and take a seat upon the council in guiding the human race towards the stars. Anthony Goodwin, however, despite missing out on the prestigious Governor of Mars gig, was given an equally prestigious role of looking after the automatic mining colony on Rhinemouth. His mining bonus would stand him in good stead, boosting the capacity of the automated system. On the 19th of January, year 13, the Hale Container Limited Company launched a few additional freighters. Business was booming. with the council, the Preservation Council, asking for so much to be moved around the system. The Hale Company bit the bullet and added additional capacity to their fleet. One mass driver was now on Rymouth and another was on Faye. And it was this time that both colonies were configured to send their resources back to Earth. The job of shipping the mines across to Mars was proving to be a large one, though. And the idea that maybe using the civilians to move the mines to Mars might be a good idea. On the 29th of February, year 13, Isabel finished the research into electronic warfare, unlocking a new way of approaching the battle space. Electronic warfare promised to befuddle enemies. Isabel was then asked to move on to additional active sensors. It was decided that active sensors would provide the best way of moving forward, would allow large range sensors. And as Isabel was such a genius in the area, it was decided that that was the best value for money that could be found. On the 9th of April, year 13, research into improving the scientists and the way they work was finished, giving a massive boost to the research rate. Instantly, the efficiencies were realised as most of the researchers' timeframes were radically reduced. There's now 6 mines on Mars. They were producing a few tons of materials. Only the starting days of the mining on Mars. Additionally, it was decided that a team should be created, a geology team, to investigate the viability of the different ores and to see if there were any improvements to be found. The Ross Adams geology team was created towards that end, and they were sent to Mars on the freighter. It was a none too comfortable journey, that is for sure, but they got there in the end. Decided that the last mass driver there was on Earth would be sent to Mars so that they could fully ship all that they were mining back to the Earth. The automated mines were nearly constructed at this point, needing only a few more weeks until they were ready. And once they were all completed, the council would assign them to send them out to the different automated mining colonies. In total, there was 50 automated mines, with Rhinemouth and Faye being the two priorities. So 25 mines were assigned to go to Rhinemouth and 25 were assigned to go to Faye. Just over half the solar system had been surveyed by the Homer, and at this stage there had been no real further breakthroughs, no other large amounts of resources found. On the 29th of December, year 13, the research into the Saurium harvester was completed. Madison was asked to look into shipyard operations and see if there were any efficiencies to be gained in the creation of new ships. Additionally, further improvements to the mining sector and to the construction rate were also assigned to Madison to begin after she had finished her research into the mining production.